Hello to all of you and welcome back to the channel. It is probably now a week once this has been drawn and edited after the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield. So obviously I had to do a video on sort of how I've been enjoying the game, what I've liked, what I've disliked, and surprisingly a lot of it has been liked. Now I know that's going to go against the grain of a lot of Pokemon fans right now, complaints about the Pokedex and Game Freak lying, things like that, which don't matter to me. I'm here to talk about the game and my journey so far in the Galar region. So obviously now I'm not single. I have another half who can get the other half of the games. So I had Pokemon Shield, she had Pokemon Sword. We picked them up, booked a couple of days off work and decided to try them out together. Now, as you start, you meet a lot of weird Pokemon, sort of really generic, based on animals, almost exact carbon copies of animals. So here we've just got a sheep, massive ball of fluff. It does look kind of cute, I'll give it that. It can evolve. Then we got this guy, which again is pretty much just a fat squirrel. Can I say fat? It's 2019, I can hardly say anything. Less big boned squirrel. Big boned. And then we've got this weird looking fox, which again is kind of cute. I think it looks a bit more dodgy as it evolves. Obviously with the name Nickit as well, it's sort of a burglar or robber. A lot of these terms I think are English, so maybe not as applicable in America, but this is based in England. So now, really early on in the story, you're going to meet somebody called Hop, which is, I guess he would be your rival. He's more of a friend than an enemy, like Gary is in the first one. Or Blue, I guess it's called. Even though I always named him Gary. That's something I miss from this, not being able to name them. You bump into him quite early and he is quite annoying. He's really energetic and bouncing around the place. But soon enough, you meet his brother, who is Leon, and he's the champion of the Galar region. Now comes the important part. Which starter are you going to pick? Now, it had been leaked what the final evolve of each was, but I didn't believe it. When I saw it, I saw a lot online saying it was fake. So I thought that can't possibly be it. If I'd known that was it, I probably would have picked Grass. I didn't, so I picked Fire. I think Scorbunny looks better than the other two, so that was my sort of decision making. And I know Scorbunny was based around football, which I'm actually not a massive fan of, so I don't know where I was going with that point. But he's a bunny, he's fire, and he's cute, so I went for that. My girlfriend went for Grookey, which was the grass Pokemon, so I did get to see the final evolves, and it turned out those leaks were true. So that's sort of the beginning of the game. I'm not going to give it all away. I'm not going to talk about everything you do in the game, else there'll be nothing for you to try. But I am going to talk about some of my favourite points and then some not so favourites. So a big plus for this is the wild area, which is basically just a massive area of the map you can just explore. You can ride freely, bump into other trainers, find raids, which are super powered Pokemon, team up with your friends to beat them, find rare strong Pokemon just walking around. Like I almost walked into a Steelix, which doesn't sound that scary now, but in the moment, turning around and this giant steel rock snake thing, it's quite a shock. It's not something you normally see in Pokemon, so that was kind of cool. The raiding specifically, I've just done a ton of. It reminds me of Pokemon Go, which I still play a lot. You basically jump in with a group. It can be up to 4 of you. You choose one Pokemon to take in, and then that's all you get. The person who created the raid can Dynamax, so they can turn into a giant form, use special attacks. The raid Pokemon will be giant, and it looks really cool. As a battle, as a spectacle, it makes Pokemon battling cooler, which you do in the gyms as well. You do in the gyms as well. You're basically set in a football stadium, both of your Pokemon Dynamax, and you fight it out, and it looks so much cooler than previous games, and whether or not it's got all the Pokemon in, it's got a lot of them. It sucks if your favourite isn't in. I do get the Pokedex complaints, but the game itself, like what is actually in the game, is good. So that's wild area, raids, and gyms, which I've enjoyed so far. The story itself, I've not finished the game. I'm currently at the 7th gym already. So I have flown through it. I've done lots of exploring as well. I mean, I pretty much had a week on it non-stop, so I've got quite far, but there is a lot to do in the game. And I'm not normally one to be drawn into customizing characters' clothing and stuff like that, but in this game I quite enjoy it. You have uniforms when you battle, like football players would, which is a new addition, which again is something I like. I wish there were more customizable options. You can sort of change your hair and face and stuff like that, so compared to other games, it's a massive step forward. But we should probably talk about the most important thing, the new Pokemon. Now, a lot of them missed the mark for me. I think that's been the case for the last few Pokemon generations, though. There was a handful that I adore, and some of my favourite Pokemon like Pumpkaboo have come out in the most recent generations. And that's no exception in this one. There is a Dragon Ghost Pokemon, which I'll flash up his name, it escapes me right now, but is one of my favourite Pokemon of all time. I think it looks so cool. It has 2 tiny unevolved versions of itself that it fires out, which again is cool. It's half ghost, half dragon, 2 of my favourite types. There are some really, really cool Pokemon in this game. And on the other hand, there's some not so great ones like I listed at the start, which are pretty much just animals. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of effort has gone into it and it does show. So the negatives. Obviously, some Pokemon aren't in the game at all. And some that I wanted to use like Solosis, I think that's how you say it, and Turtonator. Stuff like that are super hard to find. And some can only be got after you finish the game, at which point it's sort of like, why do I need them anymore? The end game I've heard, or after late game, stuff like that, isn't as good as previous games. There's not as much to do, which is a massive minus for me because I do like to keep playing my Pokemon games, which is why Pokemon Go, for me, has been one of the best releases they could. On the downside, I will say some of the Pokemon, obviously the Pokedex, and the last one I would say is how easy it is. I don't think I've actually lost a fight yet. I don't think I've been knocked out. And I don't think I've been that close to it either. With the raids, you get candies, which you can level up your Pokemon, which I haven't used. I've sort of not done purposely. Towards the 7th gym, I did start using them. But they make it so easy to level up, and you're so much higher level than the gyms coming up. The game is definitely too easy. It's too aimed at a younger audience. Obviously, the Pokemon is always going to be mainly for children, but there is a massive audience, which I assume is listening to this video, that have grown up with Pokemon like me, and they would like a more challenging game. If there was an option to switch it to a harder mode or something like that, I think that would save it a little. But that's enough from me rabbiting on about the game. I want to hear what you guys thought. So drop in the comments below what you thought of the game, where you're up to, likes and dislikes, all the good stuff. Make sure you subscribe for more drawing, Pokemon, gaming related content. But until next time.